People who are here don't have to. All right, so just to let you know, before we get started, you guys have benefit guidebooks in the back. The benefit guidebooks have your all the payroll contributions in them, but today we're just going to go through the benefits and all the parameters around your benefits for the coming year. But if you're looking for payroll information, it's all in this book for you. And then after this presentation today, I don't go away. I'm in your book on page 4. I'm Melissa Barbakoff, so if you have any questions, I'm from CBIZ Insurance, and we come alongside Westminster to help administer your plans here. And then, like Megan said a little bit earlier, if you want help signing up through Paycom today, she can stay after and help anyone who needs it. But we're going to start with what is new for this coming year, and Westminster is excited to announce that they're going to keep their current plan designs the same, so there's not going to be any changes. It's still going to be through Cigna, but to help keep payroll deductions low, they're going to be adding 2 new plan designs that look exactly the same, but the difference is there's a narrow network now. And that narrow network through Cigna is called the Local Plus Network. And today, if you are in the Cigna medical plan, 96% of people's doctors are already in the network. And so we're going to go over tools or other things through Cigna that if you're on the OAP plan today and you want to see if your doctors are in the Local Plus, there's a phone number that you can call and people at Cigna to help you walk through what benefits are best for you for the upcoming year. And then Westminster, again, is proud to announce they're going to keep going with the matching contributions to the HSA account. The HSA is a health savings account that goes with the HDHP plan, and Westminster Village gives $500, and then they give $750 matching dollars. So dollar for dollar that you match to your HSA, they will match that up to a total of $1,250. But we're going to go through some basics first about the plan and when you can sign up. And so enrollment. When you first join the team as a full-time employee, your benefits are effective first of the month following 60 days of continuous employment after date of hire. And then after your initial enrollment, your next opportunities to enroll are at open enrollments like this. And so open enrollment is going to run now through November 18th. And so you can sign up for benefits or make changes to your benefits if you've had them in the past all the way through to the 18th. But if you don't make any changes, then your only other time to make a change during the plan year is if you have something called a qualifying event. And a qualifying event, you might be wondering, what is that? And it's just, there's examples of qualifying events listed here, such as a marriage or divorce, a legal separation, the birth of a child, a dependent gains or loses coverage, or you become eligible for Medicare. And those are just some of the examples. But when something like that happens, you have 30 days to notify HR and provide the appropriate paperwork that they would need, and then you're allowed to make changes to the benefits that you have. Otherwise, your only other chance will become next November sometime. And then Westminster Village offers a $10 per pay period premium credit if you take advantage of their wellness program that they offer. And it's easy to qualify. All you have to do is go to mycigna.com and complete a confidential health risk assessment. You can have a preventative screening with your doctor, or you can participate in one of Westminster Village sponsored activities, which can be anything from a lunch and learn, yoga, a stretch class, walking, or fitness challenges that they have. And any one of those actions will save you money and help you qualify for that $10. And everybody has a lot of different knowledge about benefits. And so depending on what that is, we wanted to go through some basic definitions that you're going to hear me say a lot through the presentation and can be confusing at times. So first is a copay. It's a fixed dollar amount that you pay for services on a PPO type of a plan. And copays can go towards emergency room, urgent care, physician's visits, and prescription drugs. A deductible, on the other hand, is the amount of money you pay for services before coinsurance applies. And this doesn't apply to preventative services under the Affordable Care Act. Those are all covered at 100%. And then coinsurance is cost sharing between you and the insurance company. And normally the insurance company pays the larger portion and you pay the smaller portion. And finally, out-of-pocket maximum. When you see that on your benefit plan, that's the max amount you're going to pay for insurance for the entire year. Now, I mentioned a little bit earlier that we're adding 2 new plans this year, and it's the local plus network option, and you can save 12 to 16% on your premiums by choosing the local plus. And so the local plus is a narrow network that's designed to give you the right mix of healthcare and benefits at a lower price. And to be considered in-network, you have to go to a local plus provider. Again, 96% of people who are enrolled today already use a local plus doctor. One of the biggest differences between the local plus and the large network with Cigna is that Banner is not included. So if you go to a Banner facility today, those would no longer be included in the network. And then the Open Access Plus, that's Cigna's large network, and it works the same as the local plus. It's just larger. One of the things that I would say is the big difference is if somebody has a dependent. So like for instance, I had a college student who was in Florida. I would need to take the Open Access Plus plan because he wouldn't be in Arizona to access the local plus network. So in that kind of situation, you would definitely need to choose the OAP. But now we're going to watch a quick video about the local plus network.
Cigna Local Plus is a cost-efficient and customizable plan that's created for you and your busy family. It's specifically designed to help you save costs without sacrificing the healthcare experience you want and expect. It all starts with the Local Plus network, a focused local network of quality healthcare providers, specialists, and hospitals that deliver care right where you live. Here's how it works. When you're in your local area or another Local Plus network area and you need care, you must go to a provider or facility within the network in order to receive in-network coverage. Of course, that's pretty easy to do when you have thousands of local providers to choose from, not to mention access to Cigna's national network of labs, behavioral providers, convenience care clinics, and virtual care services. And although it's encouraged, you don't need to select a primary care physician. You don't need a referral to see a specialist either. Oh, and don't worry. If you're ever temporarily away from home, but there isn't a Local Plus network available in the area, our Away from Home Care feature allows you to go to providers and hospitals in our nationwide network at in-network coverage. And you're always covered in case of an emergency, too. Add to that Cigna's 24/7, 365 multilingual customer service and the helpful decision support tools on My Cigna, and you've got yourself one well-built and well-executed plan with a quality, convenient, and affordable result. Learn more and enroll in the Cigna Local Plus plan today.
All right. So before I move on and get in, does anyone have any questions about the Local Plus or anything that I've said so far? Okay, perfect. I'll stop every so often and ask if anybody does, but we'll keep moving. So again, it can get confusing. So you have 2 networks, the Open Access Plus and the Local Plus, and now you have the plan designs, and you have 2 different types of plan designs. And this is the first one. It's a PPO, and the PPO offers co-pays, and that's one of the biggest difference between a PPO and an HDHP plan that we're going to talk about. It's just having a mind of its own. So again, your co-pays, your deductibles, and co-insurance, those all go towards your out-of-pocket max on a PPO plan. And then the HDHP plan, it's also known as a high deductible plan that you can pair with what's called an HSA bank account. They go together, and that HSA compatible account allows you to save money and put pre-tax dollars aside to pay for those first dollar healthcare coverages until you hit your deductible. And so an HSA gives you a convenient way to save by using tax-free dollars to pay for many healthcare expenses, as well as prescription drugs, dental, and vision expenses. But you can find a full list, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, about your Health Equity card. But if you were to go on Health Equity, who manages your HSA account, they have a full list of all the IRS qualified items that you can put HSA dollars towards. It keeps clicking my head. Okay, and then HSA dollars that you don't use during the plan year, they roll over each year. Those dollars are yours, and you take that bank account with you when you leave. And then again, Westminster Village is going to contribute $500 to your HSA account, and they will match a dollar for dollar up to a maximum of $1,250. And then individuals, the IRS has raised this limit for this year. Individuals can contribute $3,850 for 2023 to their HSA account, and families can save up to $7,750. And when I say families, that can be anyone in an employee plus spouse tier, employee plus child, or the family tier. So again, these are the two options that you have to choose from on the large network. We're going to talk about the large network first. So this is the Open Access Plus. And on the left-hand side, you have the PPO plan. And as you can see up at the top, the PPO plan has a $5,000 deductible. It has a $6,850 out-of-pocket max. But what you'll see is mostly you have co-pays. So if you were to go to a physician or a specialist, you would pay $30 for a PCP and $60 for a specialist visit. Emergency care would be covered as a copay, so $300, and then $75 for urgent care and prescription drugs as well. You might be wondering, so then when does the deductible come into play on this type of plan? Right here under inpatient and outpatient services, where it says 20% after the deductible. So if you were to have a surgery, you would pay up to that $5,000. Surgeries can be pretty expensive, so we'll say it's $10,000. You would pay that $5,000 deductible, and then you would pay 20% of the balance until you hit your out-of-pocket max. But once you hit your out-of-pocket max, I have a friend who's having a baby in the middle of January. She's going to hit that number, and so her health care will be covered the rest of the year. And so just keep that in mind, that that is your cap for health care. Then on the other side is the HDHP. And so it has a lower deductible, but it works different. There are no co-pays on an HDHP plan. But that's where your HSA account comes in, and that's where the assistance from Westminster Village comes in too, where they give $500 to your HSA to help you with those first dollar costs. So you're going to pay, if you go to the office visit here, it says 10% after the deductible. So let's say a physician's visit is $75 after the contracted rate with Cigna. You would pay that $75 and you would until you hit your deductible. Once you hit your deductible on a high deductible health plan, then you only pay 10% for your care until you hit your out-of-pocket max. And the out-of-pocket max on the HDHP plan is $5,000 for an individual and then $10,000 for a family. Any questions about the plan? So as you can see, this is the Local Plus network, and it looks exactly the same and it works exactly the same. The only difference is you have a smaller network of doctors to choose from. And even though I say it's a smaller network, it's still, I think for instance, there are, instead of 12,000 PCPs, there are 9,000 PCPs you could choose from. It's still a relatively large network. It's just smaller than their bigger one. But we're going to walk through a couple of examples to help you kind of think through your healthcare decisions, and hopefully it might help you think through how do you use healthcare, how does your family use it, and which plan might be best for you. So in this example, it's going to take employee-only premiums, and we use the employee premiums assuming you're going to take advantage of the wellness credit. And so this person goes for their preventative exam once a year. They visit their primary doctor when they got sick to get treated for bronchitis. They filled a Tier 2 subscription twice. And then it assumes that you're going to take advantage of the matching HSA fund. And so you'll see at the top, again, so that's your total for the year. So for the Local Plus HDHP plan, you're going to pay $1,680 out of your paycheck for the entire year for that coverage. For the Local Plus OAP, it's $1,800. And then in the large network, it is $1,920, and then the full OAP is $2,160. And as you can see, the preventative exam, so normally a PCP is valued at around $75, but because it's considered covered under the ACA, those are covered at 100%. So take advantage of those doctor visits under the ACA that are considered preventative, because they're at no cost to you on either plan. And then one PCP, again, is $75 at retail or a $30 copay. So you can see on that second line the difference between the HDHP plans. And the OAP plans is you're going to pay either the copay or the full rate. And then the tier 2, we're going to assume it's $60 or a $40 copay, and they filled it twice, so you can see the cost there. And we're going to go ahead and say that you're going to use your HSA funds to pay for those visits that you had. And so again, you can see at the bottom, for the HDHP plans, in this scenario, you're just paying the amount of your premiums for the year. There's been nothing else out of pocket. If you were to take the OAP plans, you can see that there's additional charges that go along with your premiums. And one thing I like to encourage people, if they're thinking about switching from the OAP to the HDHP and you've been paying those higher premiums, start with the difference between, like, let's say the $1,800 and $1,680, and put that amount in your HSA. You were used to spending that in premiums, and now put that in your HSA to go towards your care and to start there. Then the second option we're going to talk about is, again, employee-only premiums, but this is somebody who has a chronic condition. They see a specialist once every month. They take a tier 2 medication every month, and then they visit to the emergency room. And in this case, you can see the same thing. It assumes the wellness credit, and these are the premiums all the way across. But as you can see, on the HDHP, you're paying the full value of that specialist visit at $125. So you'll pay each of those until you hit your deductible. And then on the OAP plans, you're paying copays. So those $60 copays add up to $720 over the year. Then you can see that one of the big differences is emergency room. For the HDHP, it would be $1,000 versus a $300 copay, and so on. And again, we assumed you're going to use your whole contribution and apply that, and then you can see the difference. Now, even though you're going to pay more in this scenario, the $3,650 on the HDHP than the OAP at $3,300, some people still like to have the high deductible option. They like having the HSA. And again, we're going to talk in depth about an HSA and what that brings to the table. You can save for retirement. Again, it brings down your pre-tax earnings. And so, but again, this is what I would encourage you to do. What do your prescription drugs look like? What does your care look like? And then mapping out the different plans to see, hey, I can either really save by going over to the HDHP, or, you know, I would rather have more come out of my paycheck and I want to have the copays. Any questions about that before I move on? It's a quiet group today. Yesterday, lots of questions. Okay, so the HSA that I've been talking about is administered by Health Equity. You'll receive, like you can see over there to the right, a Visa card, and it works. You can use it anywhere. So if you're getting a prescription drug at Walgreens, you can use that Visa and it will debit right out of your account. But let's say you don't have it with you. If you download the Health Equity app, or if you go on the computer, you can take a picture of any receipt that's a qualified medical, dental, or vision expense, or anything that's considered qualified by the IRS. You can take a picture of it and submit it right to Health Equity, and they will reimburse you. And so there's a host of tools on Health Equity to take advantage of. They have something called Savvy Saver, a smart spender, or an informed investor. And the Savvy Saver helps you unlock incredible tax savings and helps you put more dollars in your pocket. The Smart Spender area of their app gives you tools to help you find generics at a lower cost. And then find generics at a lower cost, and then it'll help you stretch your HSA dollars further so you can know different items, and they'll give you kind of pop-ups to help you how you can save, even with picking different quality of care in different places so that you don't spend as much money. And then I got a lot of questions about this yesterday. People didn't realize that if you have a balance of at least $500 in your HSA, you can begin to invest those dollars. Some people like to do that. I have never done it personally, but I know a lot of people who do. That you can take your HSA dollars and you can start to invest those. And so there's a whole section in Health Equity where you can work with Vanguard Investments to invest those monies that are going into your HSA account. And then one of the big advantages, again, enrolling in the HDHP is that you get that contribution from Westminster of $500, and that they'll match dollar for dollar, an additional $750. But you don't have to stop there. You can contribute up to $38.50, but just remember that those include Westminster's contributions to you as well. Now, if you choose the PPO, you don't have access to the HSA, but you do have the opportunity to sign up for what is called an FSA. And so even when you have those copays and expenses have a way of adding up. And so you can use a flexible spending account or an FSA when you select that PPO plan. And an FSA helps you save on your taxes by allowing you to set aside pre-tax monies every month to pay for hundreds of eligible healthcare expenses. And there are two types of FSAs that you have available to you here. You can choose a healthcare FSA or a dependent care FSA. And if you choose the dependent care FSA, you can be in the HDHP plan. It's just the healthcare that you can't choose. And so FSAs are great because that, again, is that pre-tax income. But the difference between this and an HSA monies you keep, FSA is use it or lose it. So when you're thinking about your contributions that you're going to set aside for the year, just know that anything, you can have $610 now that you can roll forward, but anything over that, you would forfeit that amount. And now we're going to talk a little bit about different types of tools that are available to you through Cigna. But one of the things we wanted to start with is choosing a healthcare facility. Sometimes we get sick or things happen and we don't know where to go. This happened to me with my kids in the last couple of weeks. They both got sick and they didn't know, do I go to urgent care or do I go here? And I said go to virtual care. So we wanted to talk about the different options because some people don't know that even what convenience care is. So an urgent care is a great choice when you need medical care fast, but you don't need to go to the emergency room. But convenient care is also good, and it's not as expensive as urgent care. So for instance, if you have pink eye or a basic cold or things like that, you can go to convenience care, which those you can find in Walgreens or a Walmart. They're normally located in stores like that, and they have a lower cost to them. And then lastly, we would say, obviously, if you're having a major emergency, definitely go to the emergency room. But Cigna does have tools and numbers you can call too when it's not urgent to help you figure out where is the best place for me to go. And speaking of that tool, it's called the Cigna One Guide, and the phone number is listed here. And what's great about the Cigna One Guide is they're going to help you with all different sorts of things. They can help you with enrollment assistance. You can call them if you were enrolled in the Cigna plan in the past, if this isn't your first enrollment. They have your details, and so you could call them and ask them, I don't know which to choose. I don't know if the Local Plus is even good for me. And they can tell you based upon your past care. Maybe you're already seeing a doctor that's in the Local Plus network. Maybe even a hospital that you have visited is already in the Local Plus network. And they'll walk through with you to help you even if you want to move away from the OAP, find in your area where you live, where the Local Plus doctors would be available to you. And then after open enrollment is over, they're still available. And so if you've ever had any healthcare issues that you run into, or you wanted to get a cost estimate, if you needed to have a surgery or even an MRI done and you go, I don't know where to go, you can call Cigna and they will actually help you find the best facility closest to you at the best cost. And then just a little bit more about the One Guide is, again, they'll help you navigate the healthcare system. Sometimes the healthcare system can be daunting. Right now in Maricopa County, many doctors have, they're not taking new patients. So the Cigna One Guide can help with that too. I had an individual ask me the other day, I've called physician after physician, they're not taking anybody new, I don't know what to do, and the Cigna One Guide was able to help with that, and they'll reach out and find that they're taking new patients so that you don't have to spend that time figuring it out, calling doctor to doctor. So make sure that you take advantage of that service from Cigna. And then mycigna.com, if you enroll in medical, this is the first place and first thing that I would tell you to do, is download the MyCigna on your app, on your phone, or you can go on your desktop if that is easier, and you can access mycigna.com, but it'll allow you to manage your account, view any ID card information. They have drug cost calculator tools. What's really interesting is most people don't know that if you were to bring up Cigna's drug cost calculator tool and if you were to put a maintenance drug in there, it would be very interesting that you can see from CVS to Walgreens to Walmart that they all have different prices for the same drug. And it shouldn't be different, but they do. They all have different prices. So that allows you to take control over your healthcare spend. They also have cost and quality comparisons for doctors and hospitals. They have wellness tools that you can use, and you can track any account balances. And so that health cost estimator that I was talking about, this is an example, and none of us want to pay more for medical care than we need to. And so this is why Cigna on their website, when you're looking either for a doctor or for a service, they outline the differences in cost. And people might not know that in Maricopa County, an MRI can go from anywhere from $400 to $1,400. And so if you're on the HDHP plan, this becomes very helpful because you don't have a copay, and so you want to maybe find the best price for an MRI, and you can stick that in. Like I said, you can find by service or you can find by doctor, and it'll tell you the cost and their quality rating. But even if you're on the copay plan, I think this is still important because the more we spend on healthcare, that's what brings the higher cost of healthcare goes, the higher the increases go year over year. So the more that people can make informed decisions, the better it is for everybody. And then we want to make sure that you know that Cigna has a wealth of resources around mental health. And so one of them is Talkspace. And therapy isn't just for people who've been through traumatic experiences. It can be for anyone. People who are going through a major life change, somebody who, if you want to learn how to be more productive, or if you just need help in goal setting or self-acceptance. Talkspace is available through Cigna. But the important thing, sometimes people have gone directly to Talkspace and signed up and thought it was free. You have to go through Cigna. So if you go to Talkspace.com/Cigna, or if you download the app or go on mycigna.com, you can link to Talkspace from there, and then it'll be covered through insurance. And then the other thing that Cigna offers, they rolled this out last year, was Identity Force, with more and more people suffering from their identities being stolen or hacked, and what havoc that can wreak on your life. They rolled this out for all medical members so that you have identity theft protection. And then I talked about it a little bit earlier, is Cigna has a ton of apps and activities available as well that you can track self-guided wellness goals that you have. And so you can, I think it's better to show the example. So like for instance, they have 4 different areas on here that you can focus on, from eating better to how do I balance stress to how do I sleep better. And you can pick from the different options, and you can either do self-guided activities, and it'll give you prompts and things to do to help you meet your goals. So it'll ask you some questions, you'll have your goals that you put in, and then it's going to set up a plan for you to meet those goals. Or on the other side too, you can decide, I want to be in a challenge with other people, and so you can join in a challenge with other people who have Cigna Healthcare and work towards your health goals. And then lastly, telehealth. And Cigna has expanded this year their MD Live telehealth, that it covers everything from psychiatric visits to PCP visits to specialist visits. So there's a wide variety that you can. All you have to do is, again, go to mycigna.com and you can link to MD Live. MD Live is who they partner with for that care. And so take advantage of that. We're all really busy. One of the things that we've seen it work really well for too is people's kids. A lot of kids are busy. There's sports, there's activities, there's school, and it's hard to carve out time to go to the doctor. Virtual care could be the best place to start for that. So before I move into your other benefits away from medical, anybody have any questions around Cigna or anything that I've talked about that maybe I could clear up for you? So Westminster's dental plan is through MetLife. Through MetLife, and they offer comprehensive dental benefits to cover cleanings, emergency dental care, and more. And then the overview of your benefits are shown here. And at the top you can see you have an annual deductible for an individual of $50 or $150. And that only applies when you have basic or major services done. When you have preventative services done, there's no deductible, and those are covered at 100%. And you might be wondering, what are the preventative services? So those are oral exams, and you get 2 in 1 year. Full x-rays, which you get 1 in every 60 months. And then cleanings is 2 every year. And then bite wings are 2 every year. And then kids can have fluoride treatments up to the age of 14 years old. So that's everything that's covered under preventative services. And then your basic services are paid at 100% after you pay that deductible. So if you have an individual plan, you would pay $50. And then those basic services cover things like sealants, fillings, root canals, periosurgery, and scaling are just a few of them. Now there's limits to those things too. I won't get into all of that. It'll be like 1 tooth, this tooth, you can have this. So, but those are the things that are covered under basic. And then major, which is covered at 60%, is crowns, repairs, bridges, and dentures, and same things. They have limits to those things, but under the limits, you would receive 60%. Now your maximum at Westminster is $1,750, and this can be a little confusing in comparison to medical. When you meet your maximum in medical, you're now covered at 100%. It's the exact opposite in dental. In dental, that's the maximum amount that MetLife is going to pay towards your dental care for the year. And then your vision coverage is through MetLife as well. And same thing, so at the top you have exams, those are $10. And then you have contact lens and exam. It's a little bit different. It's 15% off the professional fee, or it's a cap of a $60 copay. Your lenses, you have a $25 copay, and it can be covered under a single, a bifocal, a trifocal, or a lenticular. And then frames, same thing, it's a $25 copay, and then you get a $130 allowance towards your frames. But if you were to choose frames that are more than $130, then you get a 20% discount off of those. And then contacts, you get a $130 allowance, and LASIK surgery, there's discounts. So while it's not covered, they do have discounts if you were to see an in-network provider. And then we know it's important to have life insurance when the unexpected happens. And so Westminster Village offers basic life and AD&D insurance up to 1 times your annual salary to a maximum of $80,000, and it's at no cost to you. They provide this to you as an employee of Westminster Village. But you also have the opportunity to purchase additional life insurance through MetLife. At your first enrollment, you can purchase additional life insurance up to the guaranteed amount without any evidence of insurability. But let's say you didn't elect life insurance at your first opportunity, you can still sign up for life insurance during the open enrollment period. You would just have to fill out what's called an evidence of insurability form, or it's called an EOI. Sometimes it can be called a statement of health, and you can get that from HR, or it could be, is it in Paycom?
I don't think so.
Okay, so they get it from you guys?
All documents are loaded in.
Okay, so you can get that form in Paycom. You would fill it out, and you would follow the directions and submit it to MetLife, and then MetLife will not only notify Westminster Village, but they'll notify you as well if you were approved and for what amount. And the other example is if you fill out the EOI, and let's say you filled it out for $150,000, they might decline you for $150,000, but let's say they'll approve you for $100,000, then that would be the amount that's submitted to Westminster, and that they would let you know. And then when disabilities come into play, Westminster Village offers short-term disability, and they split the premium 50-50 with the employee. Short-term disability insurance replaces a portion of your income during the initial weeks of a disability, and your employer pays 50% of the coverage, and it replaces 60% of your income for the first 11 weeks of a disability. And then long-term disability is your choice. It's 100% employee paid, but it would replace 60% of your income for an extended disability lasting 24 months. And then the next few benefits we're going to talk about are completely different. While they're called insurance, they're not really insurance. We like to call them cash pay benefits. They don't get paid to a doctor. They don't get paid to a hospital. If something happens to you, these are cash benefits that are paid directly to you, that you can use them however you see fit. So we're going to talk about critical care, accident, and medical bridge insurance. And so if a serious illness strikes, the last thing anybody wants to worry about is piling up medical bills. And so the Colonial policy will pay a lump sum in cash to help you pay for or protect your savings. And they pay out, the two options you have to choose from when you're in Paycom is $10,000 or $20,000. And here's just some sample of what they cover: heart attack, stroke, end-stage renal disease, coma, major organ failure, and it's not listed on there, but cancer is as well. In Paycom, there's a full benefit summary that explains all the different illnesses. But again, if something were to happen, then you would receive, if you chose $10,000, you receive $10,000 in cash or a check. And you could use that towards transportation. You could use that towards your deductibles and out of pocket if you wanted, but you could pay your mortgage with it as well. It's really just kind of a protection to help you when the unexpected happens. And accident insurance works exactly the same way. It just covers different things. So critical illness, like I said, stroke, heart attack, think of those big events. And an accident covers if you fell down the stairs at home and you break your leg, depending on the types of what you're approved for, you would receive payouts. And these are just some examples of them, but we're going to walk through an example on the next slide. So in this case, Alex was cleaning off the gutters. He fell, he fractured his leg, and as you can see on the left-hand side, he receives a payout for the ambulance visit of $200, an emergency room at $100, the x-ray he gets $50, the hospital admission he gets $750, and so on, all the way down. And you see that he receives a payout of $4,500 around there. And so again, you can use that for whatever you want to do. Now, sometimes people could think that this is insurance. It's not. It's just a cash payment based upon different things that happen to you that they would pay out. And then the last one is medical bridge. And the interesting thing is hospital stays in America account for 40% of overall health expenses. And so what's crazy is the average inpatient stay in the hospital in America is about $2,400. And when something does happen, the average length of stay is 6 days. And so in this case, you can get a $1,000 reimbursement if you were to sign up for this coverage if you are admitted into the hospital. And then you receive $100 per day every day after that. And so in this example, Joan, she had a covered accident and she was in the hospital, and she's the HSA plan. So she had to pay her deductible of $3,000. And then she had some indirect expenses at $500, so her total out-of-pocket cost had been $3,500. And then based upon her benefit plan for this, she would get the admission to the hospital of $1,000. She was in the ICU for 7 days, so she gets $700. She gets $100 per day. And then 3 additional hospital stays outside of the ICU, and that's $300. And so she gets a check of $2,000 that she can use however she wants. And then we understand that real life presents its own challenges, and that's why Westminster Village wants to offer employees what's called an employee assistance program. If you're enrolled in the medical plan, you have an EAP through Cigna. Or if you are not in the medical plan, there's also one through MetLife. So there's different access points depending on if you're in the medical plan or not. But the EAP gives you 24/7 confidential access to programs and services, and some of those include elder care assistance, financial assistance, emotional help, or help with career growth. And to get started, all you have to do is log into mycigna.com or call the number, or same thing with MetLife. And now we're going to talk a little bit about your retirement option here at Westminster Village. You have what's called a 403B plan. Works very similar to a 401k, but it's for nonprofit organizations. And a 403b plan allows you to make pre-tax contributions by convenient payroll deductions to help you save money for retirement. You must be 21 to participate, and you will be automatically enrolled at 3% pre-tax salary deferral on the first day of the month following your date of hire. And now for 2023, the IRS has upped the limits that you can contribute for next year. to $22,500, and employees who are 50 and older can make an additional $7,500. And then Westminster Village provides a matching contribution to your 403B after you've completed at least 1 year of service. You are entitled to the employer match on the first of the quarter after you become eligible. And the match is discretionary and determined each year. In 2023, Westminster Village is matching at a rate of 20% on each dollar you contribute, and employer contributions are subject to a 5-year vesting schedule that's shown here. Now, one of the things that's a little different, while I'm here today and I normally can help with any of your normal benefits, if you have any questions about your 403B, in your guide under page 4, CBiz Fit Connect is the best place to go if you want to make any changes to your current 403B today. Or there's a gentleman named Robert Lopez, and he's the equivalent of me. He's the client service consultant over at CBiz. So same thing, if you have any questions around your 403B, those would be your points of contact. And then we want to make sure that you know that at CBiz we have something that's called a claims advocate. We've all had a time in our life where we receive an EOB or a bill from the insurance company that we don't understand, and we have a dedicated claims advocate who can help you. So if you receive an EOB from Cigna or MetLife that you don't understand, or you think you've been overbilled, you would just need to contact Angela. Her information is here, but it is also in your benefit guide as well. Her name is listed. And if you were to contact her, she's going to have you fill out a carrier-specific HIPAA form. So if it's MetLife, you would fill out one of theirs. If it's Cigna, you would fill out their HIPAA form. And then she can work with the carrier on your behalf. So instead of you having to stay on the phone with Cigna and call them back and deal with trying to clean up a mess, she can do it for you. So just know that that's available to you all year long. And lastly, we know that choosing and electing your benefits can be confusing, and we're all here to help. From your amazing HR department to those here at CBiz, we're here to answer any questions that you may have, not just during your open enrollment period, but all year long. So thank you for being here today. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to the presentation. And if you want to ask any questions, I'll be here for a while, and so will your HR team.